There was a moment I remember clearly. The chart was still going up, slow at first, then faster. Green candles stacking on top of each other like a promise that refused to end. I was already in profit, more than I had ever seen before, and yet I did nothing. I didn't sell. I didn't even consider it seriously, because something inside me whispered, not yet. It sounded calm, it sounded rational, it sounded right. But a WASN single quotes T.N. that moment taught me something about the market that no chart ever could. Something about human nature, something about karma. Most people believe the game is about timing. Buy low, sell high. It sounds simple, almost mechanical, like following instructions on a recipe. But the truth is, most people don't fail because they don't know when to sell. They fail because they can't bring themselves to sell. Because selling means ending the story, and humans don't like ending good stories, especially when they think the best part hasn't happened yet. We are not logical in those moments. We are emotional. Hope becomes louder than reason. Greed disguises itself as patience, and hesitation feels like wisdom. I've seen it over and over again. A trader enters a position. The price goes up. At first, they are cautious. Then they become confident. Then they become certain. They start calculating. What happens if it doubles again? If it triples? They imagine telling the story later. I held through everything. I didn't panic. I believed. And that story becomes more valuable than the profit in front of them, so they wait. Just a little longer. Just one more push. Just one more green candle. But the market doesn't reward that kind of thinking. It punishes it. Quietly. Gradually. Then, all at once, the first drop is small, barely noticeable. It's just a correction. They say it with confidence, because they've seen it before, because it always comes back, right? Then the second drop comes. A bit sharper. Now there's a slight discomfort, but still, they hold. Because selling now would mean admitting something, admitting they waited too long, and that's harder than losing money, so they hold tighter, convincing themselves it's strength, convincing themselves it's discipline, but it isn't. It's attachment. The market has a strange way of revealing truth, not through logic, but through consequences. You don't realize you were greedy until the profit disappears. You don't realize you were afraid until you sell at the bottom. You don't realize you were attached until you refuse to let go. And by the time you see it clearly, the lesson has already been paid for. That trade I mentioned, the one where I refused to take profit, it didn't end well at first. I watched the numbers shrink. Slowly, then faster than I expected. I told myself I would sell if it dropped to a certain level, but when it reached that level, I moved the line just a little lower, because it felt temporary, because I believed it would bounce, because I didn't want the story to end like that. But the market doesn't negotiate with belief. It reflects behavior, and my behavior was clear. I wasn't trading anymore. I was hoping. Hope is a dangerous thing in markets, not because it's always wrong, but because it delays action. It stretches time. It creates a gap between what is happening and what you wish was happening. And inside that gap, mistakes grow. Slowly. Silently. Until they become undeniable. At some point, the profit was gone. Completely. And then, it turned into a loss. That was the moment everything changed. Because now, the decision wasn't about taking profit anymore. It was about accepting failure, and that's a much heavier decision. So again, I waited, hoping it would come back, hoping I could be right again. But the market doesn't care about being right. It only reflects what you do eventually. I closed the position, not because I wanted to, but because I couldn't watch it anymore. And when I did, I didn't feel relief. I didn't feel clarity. I felt something else. Regret, not because I lost money, but because I had already won and refused to accept it. That's the real mistake. Not losing, but refusing to accept winning, because accepting profit requires something most people don't talk about: letting go. Letting go of the possibility that it could go higher. Letting go of the fantasy. Letting go of the perfect outcome. And humans don't like letting go of potential. Even if it costs them reality. The market teaches this lesson over and over. Again, in different forms, two different people, but the pattern is always the same. You are given an opportunity, you hesitate, you rationalize. You wait, and then it's gone. Not because the market took it from you, but because you couldn't take it from the market. There is a kind of karma in that, not in a mystical sense, but in a behavioral one. Your actions create your outcomes. If you act with greed, you will eventually experience loss. If you act with fear, you will miss opportunity. If you act with patience, but without clarity, you will confuse waiting with wisdom, and the market will reflect it back to you every time. The people who succeed long-term, they don't predict better. They don't have secret information. They simply understand themselves better. They know when they are becoming emotional. They recognize when their thinking is shifting from calm to hopeful, from rational to attached, and they act before it's too late. They don't wait for the perfect exit. They accept the imperfect one because they understand something important. Profit is not about maximizing every move. It's about capturing enough consistently without letting emotion take control. They also understand that no trade is the final one. There is always another opportunity, but only if you protect your ability to take it. And that requires discipline, not the loud kind, not the kind people post about, but the quiet kind, the kind where you close a position, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when it feels early, even when it feels like you might miss out, because you understand something deeper. You are not here to catch everything. You are here to survive. And survival is what allows growth. Looking back, that trade was expensive, but not in the way most people think. The money lost was temporary. The lesson gained was permanent. It showed me that the hardest part of investing is not analysis. It's acceptance. Accepting that enough is enough. Accepting that you don't need to win everything. Accepting that the market will continue, with or without you. Now, when I see profit, I don't ask how much more it can grow. I ask something else. Would I be okay if this disappeared tomorrow? And if the answer is no, then I already know what to do, because the market doesn't reward potential. It rewards action. And sometimes, the simplest action is the hardest one to take. So if you ever find yourself in that moment, watching profit grow, feeling that quiet voice telling you to wait, pause. Not to analyze the chart, but to observe yourself. Ask yourself honestly, are you being patient, or are you being greedy? Are you being disciplined, or are you avoiding a decision? Because the answer to that question will shape the outcome more than anything else. In the end, the profit I refused to take was never really mine because I never claimed it, and the market has a way of reclaiming what you hesitate to accept, not out of cruelty, but as a reflection, a reminder, a lesson. So next time, take the profit, not because it's perfect, but because it's real. And in the world of markets, reality is always worth more than possibility. If this made you think differently about your decisions, stay with this channel, because the market is not just numbers, it's behavior, it's emotion, it's psychology, and understanding that might be the most valuable investment you ever make.